Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. This is going to be a lower time frame video. We do have a higher time frame video up above, so check it out if you haven't already. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so we are still looking for that higher time frame idea where we're treating this as A, B, and C. And now within this idea, we were talking about the possibility that internally here we could have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're looking for this as a fifth wave. Now, we have actually had a 5-wave move into this low here, so we need to be careful that we don't have a truncation. If we do have a truncation, what we would be expecting is either price to move back up here and look to cross this B wave high, or alternatively, we could get just a 3-wave move before seeing continuation to the downside. So the ways that I'm looking at this most currently is that if we do see this develop into a bigger corrective structure, what we could see is actually something more along these lines, where what we say is that internally here we have this as an A wave. We could potentially be looking for a B wave bounce up towards this 29,689 to this 28,000 level, and then looking for continuation down. The alternative here would be that we look for a bigger overshooting B wave, making this whole move a bigger flat correction, where we could see something like this develop, where we're going to see a pushback up to this 33,548 to this 31,000 region before looking for continuation to the downside in a C wave. Now, this would be quite an interesting idea here, because what we would then do is move up here, sweep the liquidity above, and then see a more violent move down here in this C wave, looking to actually come back down and sweep these lower levels. So going to be looking out for this. Now internally here we could actually still be looking to progress to the downside, and we're going to go over this idea now that we could still actually be looking for continuation down. Now within this idea here, what we were saying is that we were looking for this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and we have actually approached this 1-to-1 already of the wave 1. So because of that fact, I'm just being mindful that this fifth wave could potentially actually complete here. But until we actually take this high over here of this 28,135, we need to be careful that there could still be further continuation to the downside. Now, we were talking about a few things here, and we're going to come down into the smaller time frames here. Now, within this idea of having this fifth wave, what we were talking about in the previous video was saying that we could have this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and we were looking for a direct push to the downside. But we can see here that we bounced up above this 26,135. So this has actually invalidated this, because what we were saying is that this could become 1, 2, and we were looking for this continuation down. But we crossed the origin of this move, which has actually invalidated this idea. Now, another idea we were looking for was saying that this could actually be our fourth wave into here. And we're looking at this potentially as a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looking for a diagonal. Once again, we've moved up above the origin here. So this has invalidated this idea. Now, there is still potential for downside here, so we need to be careful. Now, within the other alternative, what we were saying is that, we need to be careful, because we could have that this wave 3 is here, this wave 4 is here, and this wave 5 is over here. Now, because this move has gotten so large, the probability that this is a wave 4 and this is a wave 2 has dramatically reduced now. So it is actually more likely that we have just a single 5-wave move here. Now, if we have a single 5-wave move here, this can either be an A wave, a wave 1, or a wave C. Now, if this was a wave C, we'd have to say from further back here, we have something like a flat correction, which is not my favorite way of looking at this structure. So it would make more sense to me that this is either an A wave or a wave 1, or alternatively, this could actually be that fifth wave. So if we are looking at this idea here, that this is a fourth and a fifth, we need to just respect the idea that this fifth wave could truncate here, but we'd only get confirmation by breaking back above the highs. Now, with this idea here, if we do look to actually extend, what we need to be careful of is that until we actually take that high, we could still see a rejection in this zone here of this 27,443 to this 26,169. Now, in the previous video, we were talking about that potential of actually seeing a pushback up here into these CPR lines. Now, we can see here that we have actually moved into the central lines here for the weekly. We moved up towards the central line of that, which is this 26,484. We also did have the lower range here of the monthly CPR line, so it is actually now had an interaction with these levels. So potentially, if we start to see price falling away, we could see price moving back down towards this S1, which would be this 24,821 to this 23,900 as potential downside targets for this week and for this month. So the white one is for this week, the purple one is for this month. So going to be keeping an eye on these levels. If we do look to break down through these zones, potentially we could look to target out some of the lower CPR lines, which we're going to go over in a little bit. Now, if we do, however, manage to maintain this level and we do start to interact with these zones again, we could still see price getting gravitated towards some of these higher monthly levels. We do have the central line sitting here at this 27,116, and the top end of this is up here at this 27,696. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this idea that if this move is not completed to the upside, we could still see a progression up here before looking for that continuation down if it is going to actually play out. But we also need to be respectful that this low could actually signal a low here, and we could start to build something to the upside, but we don't have enough information or confirmation of this yet. We'd have to get a bit more for us to be a bit more confident with this idea. So now within this, like I said, we need to be careful of this bearish case here, which is talking about the possibility of actually seeing a deep sell-off here, where what we're saying is that effectively this could become 1, 2, and we could be looking for a third wave to the downside. So if we start to lose these lows and we start to see price looking to sell off to the downside, the first area I'm going to be watching is this 1-to-1 level, which is actually here at this 23,514. And then we do have the 1618 down here at this 21,854. If we do see price starting to move down in a bigger 5-wave move and we hit this lower range here of this 21,858 level, what we could then see is an additional 4th and a 5th wave looking to push us down into this lower range here of this 21,253 to this 20,670. So really, until we take these highs here, we need to be careful of this more bearish idea. It is always possible that we could see something like this as A, B, and C, in which case we could see something like a bigger corrective structure forming here. We're going to have to keep an eye on it. This 1-to-1 level is going to be one to keep an eye on if we do look to break down. If, however, we do look to push down in just a 3-wave move, we also need to be looking out for that possibility of that diagonal idea that we had here, where what we were saying is that this could actually be A, B, C, and this makes our wave 1. We then have a 3-wave move up here. This is our wave 2. And then what we're looking for is actually a 3-wave move to the downside to form this blue wave 3. Now within this idea here, what we'd be saying is that we have this as A, looking for a B, and then looking for a C to the downside. Currently the 1-to-1 is here at this 23,804. So if we do see something like this where we get this as ABC to the downside, this would align with the idea of something like a diagonal pattern looking to form, in which case what we'd then be looking for confirmation would be another 3-wave move back up into these highs, not moving above this wave 2, and then seeing another 3-wave move to the downside for this 5th wave. Now this would align with the idea here that we are looking to form a diagonal pattern to the downside, and this would still align with that bigger idea here that we are looking for this C wave, where we could see price would be looking to push down towards this lower range here of this 23,646, which would be our 1.618 zone. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do continue to see price looking to push down here, this could align with seeing something like this, where we see price looking to push down into this lower box area. Coming back in here and having a look at the micro count that we've got to the upside here, what we were talking about yesterday is, we were saying that there was a possibility that we could see price looking to actually push to the upside here, because we did have those levels that we were talking about, and we're saying, we're just not selling off here as we were anticipating. So we were looking for this idea of moving off the 0.854 and then looking for this idea of a rally to the upside. Now we did come up to this 1236, and this is enough that we could potentially have a corrective structure completed here. I was looking for this as a C wave. The problem is, looking at this internally at the moment, it doesn't have good structure for that. It is more likely that this is just ABC here. So this could align with a couple of things. We could start to see something like a diagonal forming where we're still looking for a C wave, or alternatively this could be W, X, and Y to the upside. Now if we do have this just as a WXY, this could actually complete this move here, and then we could look to actually just break to the downside. If we do start to break up above this 1.618 level here, sitting at this 26,769, we could potentially be looking at an impulsive structure, but we'd need to start to see better structure forming here. This move to the downside is looking quite impulsive, so the likelihood is becoming less and less here that we are going to see this looking to progress up here, but really until we actually lose this 25,333, we could potentially look for a rally still to the upside. Like I said, also it is also possible that we could get this as a W, X, and a Y. As an A wave, we get A, B, and C, and then we still see another push to the upside here, and that would still align with actually seeing us push back up into this orange box area here of this 27,443. And then, we've already come up into this 50% level of this 26,535. But the idea would be that this could still develop as a bigger corrective move here, something like a flat correction, where we could see this push to the upside in that way. Now, within our more bullish idea, what we were saying is that if we do have a low in place at this low, and this would be this 25,333, effectively, if we are looking for that idea of seeing a bigger 5-wave move up, what we need to see is a move above this 1.618. And the idea here would that we'd be looking for a break to the upside. Now, I'm going to remove some of the stuff down the bottom here. We did move down here into this golden pocket area here. And what we were saying is that this could actually become 1, 2. And what we're looking for is this 1.618 level. We did move up to this 1 to 1. So this could just be a corrective move completed, A, B, and C. I haven't ruled out the idea yet, though, that we could still see this look to progress up here, where we get this as 1, 2, this becomes another 1 and a 2, and we could still see a reversal to the upside, though invalidation of this comes at this 25,372 level. So that's going to be our zone, our line in the sand, where we could be looking for this impulse to still continue to progress. Now, given the current structure here, you'd have to say that if you're going to count this as a 5-wave move, the extension was actually in the 5th wave. Now, within this idea, what we'd be saying is that as long as we hold this low here of this 25,615, we could see this actually develop as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, the likelihood is less here already because of the fact we came down past this 0.854. We are holding this level currently of this 25,778. But if we start to lose this zone, the likelihood is that we are then going to come back down and sweep this low. Now, the only way that this could still be a bullish move is you'd have to say that this was A, B, and C, and we could still look for a rally to the upside after that point. But effectively, once we start losing these lows over here, the probability is that we're actually going to start to see that bigger sell-off to the downside. So it's going to be key here if we want to see that that bullish count, that we hold this low, and we need to see price actually looking to reverse to the upside here. But the way that we've had this sell-off here is actually making it more likely that we are going to see at least a C wave to the downside come in here. But we'll have to see what the price action actually shows us. Having a look at the daily CPR lines here, what we can see is that we actually moved up above our central CPR lines. We came back down, we've lost this level, we've retested this S1 line, and we're currently holding above this. If we do continue to hold this, we could potentially see a bounce back up here towards this 26,025 to this 26,177 level, where we could then be looking for this as an A, B, and then possibly looking for that continuation down. If we do look to push back up above these levels here, other targets to the upside for today would be 26,593, 26,928, 27,412, and this 27,762. So this would align with having a bigger breakout here, where we're looking at this as 1, 2. If we do see some kind of a reversal here, because the top end of this move is a little bit choppy, so we could potentially argue that there's a triangle in here where this could still just be ABC, and we could still see a reversal up. But we need to see whether the price action holds here or whether we start sweeping these lows. If we do continue to sell off today, I will be looking out for these lower targets, 25,276, 24,938, and this 24,438 as potential downside targets for this week. Now, as we were talking about earlier, we did move up here into our weekly CPR lines. We came into this area of the central line here, and then we actually had a rejection to the downside. Now, our target to the downside here for our S1 is here at this 24,820. If we start to lose that level, other targets would become 23,676 and this 22,000 as potential downside targets for this week. If we do, however, see price push back up here, I'm going to be watching these levels as potential rejection points: 26,223, 26,483, 26,745 as possible resistance directly above us. So even if we do see a move back to the upside here, we need to watch these levels for possibility of rejection and that continuation down, because that would still put us within that typical zone that we look for rejection here of this orange box, so we need to be careful of that. If, however, we do start to see price reacting more aggressively to the upside here, I will be keeping an eye on this 27,626 as a possible target for this week, 29,272, and this 30,460 as possible upside targets for this week. Now, moving over here and having a look at the monthly CPR lines, we didn't actually interact with these yet. So this is why I'm just looking for that possibility that even if this move has completed as a corrective structure here, we do still have a possibility we could see something like this play out, where we see this push down and then we still either push to the upside directly, or we form a zigzag here. Then we get A, B, and we see a C wave looking to push up back into these levels. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this as a possibility of seeing something like a sweep of this zone and then seeing a little bit of a rally if we do look to continue to break down. Alternatively, we don't have good structure here. We just have 3 waves. If we do start to reverse up, it could actually align with coming back into these zones. So targets to the upside would be 26,528. We have this 27,119 and this 27,718 as potential upside targets, which we could find resistance on if we do look to push to the upside here. If we do manage to reclaim those zones, we do have targets of 29k, 32,185, and this 34,154 as possible upside targets for this month. Now, if we do look to the downside here, targets that we have is this 23,992. We have this level here of this 22,038 and this zone here of this 18,894 as possible downside targets for this month, which we need to keep an eye on to see if we do get potential pivots off these levels should price move into those zones. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. Leave us some feedback down below, and also in the description you will find a link to the Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We will see you in the next one. Take care.